On Live and Lore, we love to debunk myths. Today I'm going to bring something to you that is very important that I need you all to know. End-to-end encryption is not safe. All right? What is end-to-end encryption? iPhone messages, FaceTime, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram video calling. I cannot even begin to count how many young people I know that do some very dangerous things, commit crimes, share illegal text messages via Telegram or Instagram, and they think to themselves that the police cannot see this. That is inaccurate, that is false. Hold on, let me double back. It's partially inaccurate and partially false. There are certain end-to-end encryption methods that are safe. So let me break this down to you. The United States government has something called the Communications Assistance in Law Enforcement Act. Let me repeat that. Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act. That is the CALEA. So under the Communication Assistance for Law Enforcement Act, the government can access encrypted information that they do not have to decrypt. So what does that mean? That means that messaging systems like Telegram, they have a cloud. Everything that you send to someone on Telegram is stored on Telegram's cloud. They can access that because they do not have to decrypt it. Now, there are other platforms like face-to-face time where that end-to-end encryption goes directly from you to the person that you're calling, and they cannot access that. Or certain features on Snapchat, it goes right to you, to the next person, and then it disappears. They cannot access that. WhatsApp video calling, Instagram video calling, many of these are vulnerable because they are stored on a cloud, and the government can get access to them without having to decrypt them. So what does that mean? I'm going to tell you what that means. That means you have to be very, very careful with what you are doing on these phones. You're not safe. In fact, the government has a law called the All Writs Act, which says that under the foregone conclusion, if the government is aware of your of the messages existing or the criminal activity existing, they do not have to get some sort of warrant or sort of clearance to access encrypted information. Because they know it exists, they could compel you to give them access to that information. They could compel WhatsApp, they can compel Snapchat, anywhere where that data is stored, to get access to that information because they know it exists. Additionally, young people and all you other people that think end-to-end encryption is safe, biometrics, fingerprinting, opening your phone with your face, it is not illegal. If you are arrested and you have some sort of illegal activity on your phone, the police can hold the phone to your face and open it. Now, on the other hand, passwords, these are considered to be a state of mind issue. So someone cannot compel you to give you your password, because why? It is within your mind, it is your memory. But if you have one of these new iPhones or one of these new Samsungs where you open it with your fingerprint on your face, you are not safe. People, make smarter decisions, be wise, don't be out here with these end-to-end encryptions like it's going to protect you from anything that comes your way. Be smart, be careful. So I want you to take that with you and remember that. That is our section of debunking myths. Welcome to this section of the show where we're going to talk about proffer agreements, the Keefe D lesson. Now, many people in the streets think proffer agreements means immunity. That is incorrect. A proffer agreement is a contract, and the terms of the contract are written down. So what you agree to is what you get. Case in point, United States v. Lopez. So remember, people, a proffer agreement does not mean that you're safe. It just simply means that you agreed to give up something and the government agreed to give you something. The terms of that are written down. It is a contract. And remember that with all contracts, a breach of contract voids the contract. What does that mean? That means if you do something that is not agreed to, that proffer agreement can be taken back. So I want you guys to look at this video I'm about to play. Keefe D allegedly agreed to a proffer agreement and he gave up this information.
And Brown were in Vegas the night Tupac was shot. With Keefe D and his crew ready to do this, they set out to find Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur.
Then we came up Harmon, got the Las Vegas Boulevard, and shit, here they come in that BMW, a gang of cars.
Keefe D claims that the girls who were riding alongside Tupac and Suge Knight are what drew their attention to the BMW. They're screaming out his name, Tupac, Tupac.
She was like, there's Suge. Like, and then he was like, come on, come go with me. Come go with us. We going to 662.
And bro was like, Tupac, Tupac. And we like, there they go. Made the U-turn. We wasn't supposed to make it. We just wanted the U-turn. They was in the middle lane. We just pulled up on the side, checked every car to see where they was.
So what directed your attention to him was some girl shouting at Tupac?
Tupac! He gave himself away. Otherwise, they would have got away.
Due to traffic conditions and the configuration of Suge and Tupac's caravan, the white Cadillac is forced to pull up on the right side of their BMW.
I thought he was going to pull on my side. You know, that's my little nephew. I'm going to look out for him, you know. And he pulled on their side.
So you were fitting to blast if you had to, or you were just...
Yeah, if we would have been on my side, I would have blasted.
Okay.
Keefe D, who's seated in the right front passenger seat of the white Cadillac and who has the gun, realizes that he's not going to be in a position to shoot because he's going to have to shoot across the car and across the face of his driver. Keefe D turns around to hand the gun to the back seat, attempting to give it to DeAndre Smith, who would be in the best position to shoot. DeAndre resists, puts his hand up and says, nah, no thanks, not me.
I gave it to Dre, and Dre was like, no. And Lane's like, dude, pop, dude.
Orlando Anderson, who's in the right rear passenger, reaches forward and says, give me that motherfucker. Leans over DeAndre Smith out the back window of the Cadillac and begins shooting rapidly into the BMW.
So Orlando shot across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, he rolled down the window, pop.
So Orlando would have had to lean over the top of Dre, right?
Yeah, he did.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you?
Yeah.
He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looked at me.
Why are you looking right at me?
All right, now that you have seen that, what do you think? Do you think that this should have been leaked or shouldn't have been leaked? Leave your comments in the comment section. I honestly want to know what the people think, right? Because you got to remember, this man is a gang member. This man is in prison. He's in the streets. His life can be in danger because this was leaked. But let's go back to this proffer agreement and the terms of the contract. Right now, I'm going to play this DJ Vlad clip.
So let's talk about what happens next. You know, based on what the book says, Zip gave you guys a Glock, and you guys tossed it in the back seat. And Bubble Up was the driver, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat.
We was just all in the car together. Just say that.
This was the white Cadillac?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
No, we coming up, what's the name? What's that, Flamingo? Yeah, I think that's Flamingo. We was coming up Flamingo and got to the light. We was going to go drink and smoke some weed, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He was hanging out the window like he was in a parade.
Tupac?
Yeah, he was.
So what happens next?
And we just came, and shit. I ain't gonna go into the details like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you got it in the book. You done played it, everything else, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, in the book, you said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a gun.
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually see a gun?
No, shit. Once he got to reaching, I got to ducking.
So someone from your car
That's what happened.
started shooting at 2.
All right. Now, when you look at the DJ Vlad clip, you see that Keefe D is out here openly talking about the proffer agreement that he agreed to. He's openly giving up the details of the conversation. And if you rewind back the DJ Vlad clip, you will see that Keefe D says that Tupac reached for a gun. Now, my ears could have served me wrong, but I didn't hear him say that on the interrogation footage that was leaked when he talked to the FBI and the Los Angeles Police Department. And then he's out here talking about details of it, and he's giving up extra information that he may not have given to the FBI. So this creates an issue, right? The first issue this creates is that he's given up details of the proffer, details that he did not give up in the proffer agreement. So he may have agreed to give up all the information surrounding the Tupac killing, but he did not give up all the information. He saved some for his book. Therefore, he breached the contract. People, that right there will make you lose whatever agreement or immunity that you had agreed to with the FBI and the LAPD. Another issue, this information is now public. So if this information is now public, he is no longer a confidential informant. He no longer needs to be protected in the same capacity. So when you start giving this information up and the public knows, these are not some sort of police records that are being stored to protect a confidential informant. He is openly letting everyone know that he was involved with this crime. So now you have something called the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. People can now start requesting this information. Now, I didn't read the book. He also released a book called the 2019 Memoir, and he gave even more details in that. I don't know if he told people that he told the FBI. I have to do more research. But if he slipped up and said that he gave this information up previously, then that gives even more grounds for people to start requesting this information. Be careful. Know what you're getting into. If you are going to be a confidential informant, understand that under a proffer agreement, if you give up information to the public that was not given to the authorities, you have breached the contract. Once you start trying to make a profit off of this incident, you are now breaching the contract. You are now letting people know that you have this information that you agree to keep confidential. So the Keefe D lesson is, when you agree to a contract, or shall I say a proffer agreement, understand what you are agreeing to. Because if you do not know, you will end up in jail. S1, what's going on, my brother? Thank you for tuning in with me. How you feeling, man?
Everything is good, man. It's an honor to be here, man. You
Oh
already know
yeah.
this the first episode. We here, we live, baby.
First episode, we got to get the juices flowing, see what the people want, and keep it going. I appreciate that, man. So you know what we here to talk about, man. We here to talk about this Keefe D situation. Me and you both have been behind those walls, and we both have changed our life since then. But we know how easy it is to get caught up.
Yes.
So everybody want to know, how is this footage being leaked? How are people able to request this? Why is this man in jail if he made some sort of agreement, right? And he agreed to a proffer agreement. Now the streets, actually, you know the streets got myths. You know the streets be thinking some crazy shit. You know that, right?
Yeah, of course. I be hearing. I hear what's going on, but that's why we got you here to break it down and let the streets know exactly what's going on as far as his proffer agreement, and it wasn't legal for him to even do the deal or even talk about it after he did the deal.
Exactly, right? So we going to debunk those myths on Living Lawyer. Me being the dude that's from the streets and made it to where he's made it to and graduating law school and passing the bar, I want to give y'all the truth. So I don't want to give y'all no myths. You know what I mean? But this brother right here, he agreed to a contract. And every contract, once it is breached, it is now void. So I just showed y'all the footage earlier, people, of him making this agreement of how him giving details of how he killed Tupac and giving all the people that was with him. And then I also showed y'all the footage of him on DJ Vlad openly talking about this and trying to make a profit off of this situation. He even wrote a book
Right.
called The Memoir of I think a Compton street legend. This brother was bugging. I don't know what he was thinking, trying to make a profit off of something that could give him life in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the brother was bugging, man. And S, you being a brother that been behind a wall and been through all that you've been through, like what do you take from this? Like what do you first off, you shouldn't be snitching, but what do
No.
you tell the young people like that? What's the lesson to be learned from this?
The lesson is don't be too enthralled and enamored by the spotlight, because the sensationalism is actually the reason why Keefe D was charged with Tupac murder. It was a cold case. They say that after 48 hours, if they don't come up with a suspect for the murder, the case is like it has a low percentage of being solved. Right. This is what they say on the first 48. This is a national international
Exactly.
show, and this is what the cops say. This case was almost 30 years old. It was a cold case until Keefe D started bringing up details and various different interviews about what happened, right? And all of this was to somehow get into the spotlight because I'm pretty sure he felt that he was probably going to become a multimillionaire again because he was a millionaire back then. He was a big time street dude, and he felt like, yo, I have $1 million story, so I'm going to tell my story. But there were so many different dynamics in there as far as him making proffer agreements with the FBI. And from what I'm told, if you even lie one time when it comes to a proffer agreement, the whole proffer agreement is voided. And if you talk about it and breach that contract, that this is what you're saying, that proffer agreement is voided, and the feds can now use that video against you and show the world exactly what you did and discredit you. So he was just like so caught up either way. Like he
Yeah.
snitched and then he was talking about it, and and now he's trying to get famous, and then he ended up getting indicted because of what he said, because the contract is now voided and it could be used as evidence, and his immunity was taken away. So my whole thing is just after that breakdown, I want the youth to know, don't be so eager to get in a spotlight or for something that can incriminate you.
Exactly, exactly,
Hmm.
exactly, exactly. Keep going. I'm talking to my dog is doing some shit in the back. I'm trying to get him to stop. My bad. Keep going, Ovi.
Yeah, but everything is good, man. Everything is good, and I just believe that only time will tell how this will play out in court, because we never really seen something like this that was so popular even today as it was 30 years ago, being brought up to court and being brought up in the justice system 30 years later, as far as someone going to trial for these type of allegations. I mean, at the end of the day, Keefe D, he basically he basically screwed himself. He screwed himself, and I don't want the youth or the people out there to think that this is the way to get famous. You
Yeah,
know, by basically exploiting the past or exploiting a celebrity, or even fabricating or embellishing the truth.
yeah,
Because if Keefe D was in that car, then okay, he has a right to he got more insight than the average person, right? But if you really in the street, you ain't gonna do that, because you know that
that's a fact.
you're gonna mess around and get 25, 30 years for your for your actions. So
Fact.
I don't think he was the smartest crayon in the crayon box, man.
I don't
You know
think
what I'm
so
saying?
either. I don't think so
Yeah,
either.
I think he was kind
So
of he was too eager to get back on. He just
yeah,
looked like he was looking for a paycheck, and
looking for a
it just
paycheck.
backfired.
That's true. That's true. And you see that because I seen the interview when he was talking about Puffy. He's like, "Brother, love, throw me a bone, help a brother out." So there is some facts behind what you're saying. You definitely seen him making that call out for somebody to give him a helping hand. He was down bad, and I think what you seen is the effects of social media, right? We talk about it with teenagers, with young people constantly feeling societal pressures, and people committing suicide and feeling like they're not doing enough. This brother got on that social media. He was like, "Oh, it's a lot of money in this." He got the pressure. You see
Yeah,
the pressure going a way older and grown adult, and this brother jammed himself up trying to make $1 for social media,
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he ended up getting played because what happened was you provided the evidence against you. They used your voice against you, your words, and now you sitting in a Las Vegas jail
Yep.
awaiting trial for killing one of the most famous, iconic rappers of all time.
Horrible.
So you already know Vegas would love to just put this case behind them. At this
Definitely.
point, they're ready to convict anybody, because Vegas received such a bad rap from Tupac killing that it didn't stop the money, but it gave it a smear. It gave it a stain,
I
especially
agree.
among our people. Because when you think of Las Vegas, I mean, you think of slot machines, you think of gambling, you think of casinos, and you also think of Tupac murder. You know,
It's
so it's
true.
like, yeah, it's like this case became synonymous with the city, and
Yeah.
they can't wait to solve this. I actually saw the press conference when the sheriffs first announced Keefe D arrest, and they was like, "Oh, this guy must have thought we forgot about this case, like we was gonna leave Tupac case unjust." Like they was happy. They was like, "Yo,
He was
now
happy. Yeah.
we got somebody to pull. We got somebody to charge with this." Because what was told to me and what I seen online is that many of the people that was supposedly in that car, there's a guy named Big Dre, Orlando Anderson, and there
Okay.
was another person in Keefe D. They all died. So
That's
Keefe D, if he was really in that car, he's the last living witness. Only people that's alive that was right there when the incident started was Keefe D and Suge Knight. And Suge Knight not talking, so
Yeah, Sugar ain't talking. Sugar ain't
he's not
talking.
going to talk. No.
Yeah, that was that money got low, man, and he tried. He
Yeah.
tried to make a profit off of a story. You know what I mean? And the moral of the story to me is number one, you shouldn't even have been number one. Our condolences go out to Tupac Shakur and his whole family. That was a
Yeah.
horrible situation that occurred. And
Hmm.
the brother, you got to understand what you agreed to. I think a lot of people think that if they cooperate, they have some sort of immunity, and
Hmm.
they no one can come after them or target them for the crimes that they committed.
Yeah.
Now there are different levels of immunity as well, even on the state level, right? You have derivative immunity, you have I think use immunity. You have to know what you're agreeing to. But this brother, when he agreed to that proffer agreement, and he gave up this information.
Hmm.
He basically uh, became a confidential informant, and this information was confidential. It was secret, right?
Yeah.
And then he gave up details within the agreement that is now leaked. And when he started to write his book and he started to speak to DJ Vlad, more details came up. Like, as I'm gonna talk about an example. I'm watching the DJ Vlad interview, and I'm seeing he says that Pac reached for a gun.
Mm.
That simple little lack of information can lead to a void of contract. Because when I
Hmm.
listen to the audio, I don't know. Did you hear the audio on the Diddy interview that 50 leaked it? I think it's all on the internet. It's
Yeah,
like a
I
it's
heard
like
it.
a so it's a 9 minute clip. When I heard the clip, I don't want him to say nowhere that Tupac reached for a gun. Now I
Hmm.
may have not heard all of it, but from what I hear, he's basically saying that they pulled up. He was going to shoot him, and the other guy didn't want to shoot him, and his nephew reached out and shot him, and Tupac was getting shot up, and he's ducking, and Suge is trying to hide, but he's too big to hide. So that little detail that he withheld
Hmm.
could have easily been a breach of contract, a breach of
Mm.
his proffer agreement.
Yeah.
And now they
Hmm.
take the whole thing back. So, I think we gotta learn from this. This is the Keefe D trap. Everyone
Hmm.
has to know what they're agreeing to when they enter these courtrooms, when they enter these agreements with law enforcement. But even further than that, don't try to profit over something like that, man. It's just
No.
it's just horrible. You try to profit off of what people would many would call the greatest rapper to ever live, or
Hmm.
the greatest poet to ever live.
Yeah.
And I think I seen something else where I'm not gonna say who name. Well, somebody that interviews him even took credit. They said, "Yeah, we're grateful that we were able to get this information out of Keefe D. And I know he said I take credit for getting Keefe D to confess on himself.
Oh,
So just
Vlad. I
yeah,
think they said Vlad said that.
but yeah, so yeah, I guess you gotta be careful what y'all agreeing to, man. You know,
Yeah,
because one slip up could cost you a whole lot.
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact, man. And I I, I need I want to know if Keefe D was if he would have consulted with you before he even agreed to go on Vlad, what would you have told him to deter him from not even doing the interview?
But that's a good question. I like that. I think if let me get some water. I think if brother, I'll get that in a second. I think if Keefe D would have reached out to me and he would have asked me, "What do you do when you go on Vlad?" I would have told him number one, don't go on Vlad because you're a confidential informant, right?
Hmm.
And if you're a confidential informant, this information is what keyword confidential. So once he start making this public, the FBI don't gotta protect the information no more, right? And we seen this with the rapper in Atlanta, the young thug guy. Uh, people can. There's something called the Freedom of Information Act. So
Hmm.
if something becomes public, the public can request it, and if certain terms are met that are within the law, and they can demonstrate that this is no longer confidential information, you got the whole world requesting information and putting that out there. That man
Yeah,
could have got killed if the wrong
yeah.
person would have requested that information and got that to the wrong person's hands before it became public, and the police picked him up. He could have been a dead man.
Mm. So just don't do it.
Don't do it.
If you get don't pull a Keefe D. Like you said, you just
Don't.
named it, the Keefe D trap. Don't
Nah,
pull a
don't
Keefe
do it.
D.
Don't do it. Don't do it at all. And the scary part when I look at it, I see a lot of young people. They big on this clout thing. You know, you got the drill rappers. They talk about the shootings they did. They talk about the crimes they committed. That behavior, those tendencies will lead to a lot more Keefe Ds. Be careful what you confessing to, man.
Nah, that's real. I like that.
Definitely,
That's
definitely,
real, man.
definitely. But as I ain't gonna take all your day, man. I appreciate you for tuning in. People, y'all just tuned in for the first episode of Living Lawyer. There will be many more to come. Tap in with me, follow me, like, subscribe. Let's do this. Appreciate you, S.
Appreciate you more, cuz
All right.